Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Insider Scope. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us today. If you're new here, Inside Scope is where we spill the inside scope on industries people don't usually talk about. And today, we're diving into the truth behind university club events. This session is all about the truth behind university club events, the chaos, the hidden challenges, the funny moments, and the things that people rarely talk about. Today, we'll be sharing two perspectives, one from an organizer and one from an attendee, so you can understand what happens both behind the scenes and from the audience point of view. Before we begin, just a quick note. This session will run for about an hour and we'll have a Q&A segment towards the end. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat anytime. Now, let's start by introducing ourselves so you know who you're hearing from today. Hi, everyone. My name's Hamza. I'm currently a student in the School of Hospitality, Tourism, and Events, studying a Bachelor in International Event Management. I'll be your host and moderator for today's session, guiding the discussion and questions between our speakers. I'll now invite our first speaker to introduce themselves. Please share your name, your school and degree, your roles in university clubs and committees, and the type of events you've been involved in.
Hi everyone. My name is Rimas, and I'm currently in the School of Hospitality, Tourism, and Events, studying a Bachelor in International Event Management. And so, the club that I've been involved with is the Society of Performing Arts, SPART, and I'm part of the organizing committee as the content creator for this term 2025. And as a content creator, I've been supporting our event promotions and media and all that behind the scenes stuff that you guys see on being posted on our social media, TikTok and Instagram. And right now, I'm actually preparing to be the event director for the upcoming term 2025. So, as of now, I'm still in my probation role. However, I've completed one event, which is called the Improv Show. And now I'm preparing for another event. Actually, this week, it's called a Sparta Award. So, it's an award show. And through this role, my role as content creator and director of events after completing one of the um, probation tasks. I think I've learned a lot and have, like a bit of insight into how organizing committees work and what actually goes on behind the scenes and all that. So, yeah.
Thank you. Now, let's hear from our second speaker.
Hi everyone. My name is Emily Chong. So for me, I'm also in the same class as our first speaker, Rimas. So I'm studying bachelor's in event management, and also the school is in hospitality, tourism, and events. So for me, have not really participated as a committee, as an organizing committee, but I have attended as attendees for several different clubs in university. So basically, I will be the point of view as an attendee and sharing my experiences on the club events that I've joined. I've also joined the same event that our speaker one, Rimas, have organized. So she basically organized the improv show. So I was one of the attendees as an actor as well. So I can share my experiences and build off her comments and her insights as well. So yes.
Now that you know a bit about us, let's move into our first topic. For our first segment, we'll be talking about behind the scenes chaos, the unexpected moments, challenges, and mistakes that happen during club events. So, Rimas, I would like you to share your experience as a member of the organizing committee. So, from your role in the organizing committee, what's one thing attendees don't see happening behind the scenes?
Okay, so I think that there's a lot of like things going on behind the scene when it comes to preparing for an event. So, for example, before we have any in the planning stage of an event, we usually have like a couple meetings to decide on what our theme is and coordinate between all the different roles. Because if you guys don't know, if you join a committee, like organizing club committee, usually they have a community on WhatsApp where there's like different group chats for different departments. So there's like deep PR department, there's events department, and so on and so forth. Then there's just like one general discussion group chat for everybody. And so in my role as content creator, it was a bit hard to get insight from other departments, unless I talked in the general discussion group. But in the general discussion group, it's kind of hard to get everybody's intention compared to the department group chats. So if I wanted to reach out to the events director who is planning the event, to get their insight on whether the content creation ideas were fit for the event or not, it was kind of like hard to reach out to them. I would either have to send a message in the general discussion group chat and wait for them, or I would have to like send them a private message. But now in my new role as director of events, we actually have a group chat, which is for the head of departments. So every department, like the heads of the departments or the directors, like director of PR and so forth, they're all in one group chat called the head of departments. And this way, it's like so much easier to coordinate between all our roles, and between all our departments. And that way, it's like easier to plan our event. And so that's like one thing that I feel like attendees don't get to see, is actually like the chaos behind planning for these events and actually coordinating. The most important like aspect is communication, because communication can be really difficult if everyone is not like thinking the same way. And since currently I'm in probation, there's a lot of like new members that are also in probation. So they haven't really experienced, this is like their first experience into a club, especially in university. So it's like a bit hard to like coordinate our ideas. And yeah, I feel like that's what a lot of people don't see, the actual panic stage of it all.
Thanks. All right. Was there ever a moment where you thought this might not work?
I think the this might not work moment comes with booking venues, because a lot of time if we want to have an event on a specific day, we would have to book the venue like in advance. And so a lot of times there are like some people who would not check that box off of like contacting the person in charge for getting that venue. And so because of these delays, it's like if the event is happening next week and we still don't have a venue or like a confirmed venue yet, then the event might not even work out, even though we put all our effort into the planning stage. So yeah.
Can you share a time when you had to make a last minute change during an event?
A time where I had to make a last minute change during an event. Um, I think for this, okay, so for our event, the improv show, we actually like recruited people, because this improv show is like meant to bring in like theater enthusiasts and for them to put on a show in like less than 24 hours basically. So the event was a 2-day event, and the first day we had our writers come up with a script and then meet with the directors, and then on our second day we had the actors and directors coordinate together to put on a show that evening. And so basically in the first day, we had two writers, and one of the writers said that they couldn't make it in the morning of the event. So literally like an hour before the event was supposed to start, they said they couldn't make it. And so then we had a lack of writers. Basically we only had one writer, and then our writer during that day, we managed to get one, and then we substituted one of our like committee members to be the second director, and then to be the second writer. And then that writer had to like leave halfway through the first session. And so we really had to like make a last minute changes to who our writers were going to be. Then we had to like communicate it with the committee group chat for the improv show, and we had to like let the actors and directors know that, hey guys, like these are our new writers. So yeah, that's like one of the last minute changes that we had to do.
Thanks for sharing, man. Thank you. Now, Emily, as an attendee, have you noticed moments where things didn't go as planned?
Well, for me, as an attendee, I have noticed a few things before. So let's say to build off what Rima said from the improv show. So basically, because it was quite hard for like as an attendee who was expecting it to be on that date, which was supposed to be 1 week earlier, but then suddenly it changed to next week, which is quite hard for me to allocate my plans and like change my plans since I already agreed to be an actor and as an attendee overall. So because of that, I do have to switch like my timing and schedule a bit. But yes, so as an attendee for that issue, it is like a bit how to say, it's a bit like understandable, like from the event organizer, that things happen, and as an attendee, if you can attend, it's best like you attend, since we already agreed, like since I already agreed to be an actor. So other than that, I feel like as an attendee, it's important to commit to what you already do, unless you really have to uh let's say you really have another plan, because it is on the organizer event side for like changing the event, but things happen as well. So yes, I feel like committing to what you can do is very important. But if you can't, it is really, really important to notify the event organizers and give them an explanation, even though if it's just as simple as, I'm so sorry that I will not be able to attend to this event because it was delayed and the schedule is not aligned with my own. And maybe if you're comfortable with it, can give a small like short sentence of reason, what is the reason that you can't attend. And then I feel like that is the basic level of respect as an attendee that we can do if we are not able to attend an event. And for another club that I would say where things didn't go as planned is basically like obviously there are like delays on the event itself. So for some events that I've attended in, it basically is like we need to be in a group. So it's a big event. So I would say like it's a more adventurous event. It's more like physical event. And then it's, I would say, because there are many people, like around 100 plus of people that will attend and to like bond with each other. So basically, in this event, for context, we do not have any idea what is going to happen. All we had context for is a treasure hunt. So for that one, because the event you need to be in a group of random people, so the organizers are like in charge of assigning everyone to different groups. Whoever comes earlier goes to like group one, whoever comes the second goes to group two, and then like so on so forth lah. So basically, they, because a lot of people came late, so it's hard for them to like allocate the timing because it will be quite rushed, and the event itself have like different game stations. So I would say, if I remember correctly, there was like around 10 game stations. So there was also, I think, 10 groups as well. So in their event, they have to organize like, let's say group one go to station 5, which is in another side, and then group two goes to station like 8, let's say. So they have to allocate which group goes to where to avoid like clashing. And because there was time delay, they had to push back everything, and also make sure they have like still enough like sufficient break time, but they do have to cut short the break time because to like um to suffice for the like event game station time that they have to allocate to. So the break time, like let's say it was 20 minutes, then it was cut short into like 5 minutes, I would say. But it's still important to like allocate the break time and like adapt to the situation, especially with latecomers, because that is a very common thing, especially as a event club society in a university. Yes.
So, how did that affect your events experience?
So for my event experience, I feel like because that event, I would say I would go to explain on to my like um adventure event. So basically it was on campus, and also because it was delayed, so I would say it felt quite rushed as an attendee. And because this is like most of our first impression with the whole club and with the whole organizing committee, I would say they're quite friendly and quite supportive. But because of the delays, it did felt like we were like running to another station and then trying to complete all the stations all together. And then because the like there would sometimes be like clashes of like group one going to station eight, and then like let's say group three is not still not done with station eight, so we would have to stand on the side and wait for their turn to be done to continue with our group one activity on that station. So I would say, although it's like nice to like overview, like see what the other group does before, but it kind of ruins the surprise that the organizer wanted it to be. So basically this event is like they're quoted as a treasure hunt, but it was mostly like I would say physical challenges, like you have to do a lot of um exercise move. I would say like one of the stations you have to run around the basement car park of Taylor's University, and then like another part you have to like do futsal training for another station, and so on so forth lah. So basically I would say because of that like delay, it did affect in a way where we kind of felt like we waste a bit of time on like we waste a bit of time like how to say overseeing another group doing their activity instead of like going onto our adrenaline, which was already there to like complete next station and next station. Like it does feel rushed, but it also feels like it's a bit unorganized because of the delay. And also another issue I would say is that they initially said that it was an adventure hunt, like a treasure hunt, but they did not. I would appreciate if they did like notify attendees, for like example me, who is like less stamina and also not as fit, to like put a disclaimer that this event might be a bit like physically challenging for uh not as like more beginner to like, or with people who has less stamina in general. So um I would say this event was quite unexpected, and then because looking into it, we thought it would be like a treasure hunt where we go to find clues in the event and around the campus, around Taylor's University campus. But in the end, it was like different game stations, and then for I would say around eight of the stations was quite challenging, minus the photo poses challenge, which was still quite physically like demanding, but it's still capable for like less fit people lah. So now that I have attended this event, I feel like I can definitely give props to the organizing committee, because they do like they really planned it out really really well. It's just the issue of the timings and like what they can do to accommodate to like the latecomers, or maybe they should start first and then let the other latecomers to join. So yeah, I feel like being an organizer is like really hard for them, but I feel like as an attendee who have attended like different clubs and events in Taylor's, I definitely appreciate like the way that they troubleshoot their issues in the event as well. Yes.
Thank you guys for sharing those insights. Now let's move on to something every committee member can relate to: stress, teamwork, and communication. So, firstly, Rimas, what part of event planning do you think causes the most stress?
What part of event planning causes the most stress? In my opinion, I think coordination between everybody, like everybody in the committee. And the most stressful thing is like when you prepare for an event, the first thing that must be done is getting the proposal ready. And so in the proposal, there's a lot of there's a lot of like facts that will stay within the event, like through the event. You can't like last minute change something because then that will affect the overall flow of the event on the event day. So in the proposal as well, because in the proposal, you guys also do need to get it signed by your advisor. Usually the proposal will contain what the event objectives are, what the outcomes are, and what the budget is, what kind of activities you guys are going to have, and all the task allocations and details. And so all of these things really need to be planned out, especially for I would say the methodology. The methodology part is what the flow of the overall event is. So you really have to put yourself in the shoes of someone who's already in the event and how the event is going to be. So you need to think of the organizer's perspective during the event and as well as the attendees' perspective of how the event is going to look like to them. And then the second thing is the event budget. So you really need to plan out the budget and make sure that you're being precise. I feel like being precise is important. Obviously, some events you just have to estimate, but the more precise you are, the overall the outcome is in terms of like what you gain from the event and like any losses and that sort of things. It's easier to like to understand that sort of stuff. And then I would say that um the most stressful part is actually ensuring that everything goes smoothly on the event day because, for example, we have an event coming soon. It's called Spark Awards, and the thing that I'm most stressed about is actually like reaching out to people because we need performers for that event. So I've been reaching out to people about the event, reaching out to performers, and I'm just worried that maybe last minute someone might um, cancel. And even our sponsors, like for example, we secured a sponsor, however they haven't signed the confirmation documents, and so we can't really say that they're our sponsor yet until they confirm. But if they don't confirm earlier, then it's like hard to post their logo and all our marketing collateral and give them that exposure that we promised them and the publicity. And so there's a lot of things to like worry about when it comes to like before the event, but also on the day of the event. You never know. Like maybe things are going perfectly. You already like brought all the decoration materials that you needed for the event. You know what you're going to print on the day of the event. You already have like a production schedule for everybody involved and what everybody's tasks are. But on the day of the event, and you might even have a full dry run prior to the event, but on the event day you never know, maybe somebody might have like missed the full dry run, and so they come up to you with questions. And on the event day, usually like you're really stressed, there's a lot of things to coordinate. And then yeah, you just never know if like the performers are actually going to come, if everything is going to go right, and if the like the what is it called, the venue equipment work good or not. Because even if you tested a few hours or like days before, it might be fine, but then on the day of the event it might not work out as how you want it to be. So for that, I feel like you really need a committed team um, of people that actually know what that they're doing so that the event date is less stressful. And the most important part is actually like getting to know like the other committee members around you, the people who you're working with, because oftentimes during the event date, they can be the one to like support you during those days, and it helps like lift up the stress a bit. So yeah.
All right. So Emily, would you like to build on Rimas's perspective, or?
Well, I feel like because I would say like I'm a close friend of Rimas, and she usually would like share her organizing experiences with me. So as like an attendee who have like acted and attended in the improv show, like hmm I would say in my perspective as a friend and an attendee, it is quite interesting to see how the organizer, like how much effort goes into one event. Like I'm pretty sure because as an attendee we would like in our mindset, it's like, oh, I will just attend this event and then let's see if it is fun or not. But honestly, it feels like many things goes into like organizing the event, finding sponsorships, allocating catering for events. Because I would say, as an attendee, we do kind of take it for granted previously, because I have attended as an attendee without like knowing any of the organizers before. So I feel like um from as a friend and attendee of the improv show, I see like the hardships that we must went through to like coordinate, especially the delay to coordinate all the we would say like catering, and also the attendees arrival, and if any possible delays during the event itself. And also because I would say the improv show is like a very um rushed thing. It's a 2-day event, so basically the first day is like the writers and directors, like basically writers write a script and then the directors will look through it, and then on the second day us actors and I would say attendees go to like collaborate together and to like make the whole piece as an improv show. So it's a very rushed thing, but that's where the fun like begins, and that's where you can see how committed the organizing team is. They can like segregate. They definitely need to have like different teams. I would say like a social media team where they like film TikToks of us like practicing pictures, and also like um the videography team as well. And then for those like for example, Rimas is the like event director for that improv show. She has to oversee every single thing and make sure every department is going like doing their job well, and also like going smoothly for the whole event to accommodate to any request as well, especially for like delays that I would say in the first day where like us actors went there, but um the event room wasn't opened yet. So we must have to like very quickly try to troubleshoot that issue. So basically she went to like contact the security and make sure to like show them her booking for the classroom, for the event venue, and then only us like other actors and attendees can head into the room to start our practice. So it really does like give me a new perspective as an attendee to like really appreciate how the organizers really put so much effort that is so easily like overlooked as like a general attendee, I would say. So other than that, yeah, I think that's what I have in mind right now. Yeah.
Thank you. So this question is mostly for you, Rimas. How do conflicts usually show up within committees?
I think conflicts can show up when the committee is not as active. For example, in my club, we usually have multiple events. So we have signature events, which is like one big event that everybody has to coordinate with in, and then like small events throughout the year. And those are usually like um you're not required to attend, but at least like 50% of the committee have to attend so that we can actually conduct the event. And I feel like people might usually, since it's not required and only 50%, like they only expect 50% to come to that event, then a lot of like the members in that committee, they would just ignore or they would just not come for the event, and then that leads to us only having like 3 people on the event day, even though it was supposed to be 50%. But then people can come up with like different excuses, like, oh, like my stomach hurts or something, even if they were planning to come earlier on. And so I feel like that's how conflict arises, when people don't are not like active in the club itself, because like aside from like doing your departmental roles, there are also like other roles that you have to take on during the event day so that the event can be a success. Because really in like university clubs, we need all the manpower we can get, and that's why you will often see that university club events recruit people for their events, because like the committee is not enough. We need more people. Like aside from just the departmental roles, during the event day, people take on different roles. So for example, somebody can be part of the design team, designing the marketing collateral and all that. But then on the event day, they'll be part of the photographing team, because we need to like allocate a lot of like different roles during the event day. And another thing I would like to mention is that some people take it as, okay, I'm part of this department. I just have to make sure that my task for this, from my specific role, is done. And they don't like really try to like help out with other, like if somebody is struggling, for example, we as a team, we have an event, right? But we don't have a sponsor yet, or like we don't have a performer, or we don't have like specific equipment. And then so we will ask in the group chat, like, oh, can somebody provide this specific equipment, or help me get this or that, even though it's like not their responsibility to do that, that specific role, like it's not assigned to them. I think conflict arises when they're not like proactive, they don't like help other committee members, because like um that event is like a team task. Like we all have to have like that team spirit and try to help each other out whenever we can. So yeah, I feel like that's how conflict usually arises, is when people are not proactive, yeah, in the club itself.
Thanks. Now we have a question from a member of the audience, Jasmine Trey. So the question is, how do you deal with team members who don't respond or contribute?
Oh, that's a good question. So yeah, that's a good question actually. Um, so usually I would reach out to like the president of the club. Yeah, usually I would reach out to the president of the club and inform them that my like member under my department role isn't really like doing the tasks that they're assigned. Since I'm like director of events, there's like another role which is event coordinator, and so that event coordinator is also meant to like help me out with event tasks, like reaching out to performers and all these like little tiny tasks that can be like overlooked if someone is not assigned to do them. So what I would do is I would try my best to like reach out to them as much as I can, even if I have to do it privately, and schedule meetings with them. But then if that doesn't work out, then you just go to like the president of the club and then you inform them about that situation. And usually they have protocols in place. So in a club, there's like I don't know what's the technical term, but like basically there's like 3 flags. And so if you're like not, if your role is already set that you're going to be this role, like you're part of the official committee for the next term, and then you often like ignore your tasks and don't contribute as much as the others have, then you'll usually get like a document saying that, like a notice basically, that other members feel like you're not contributing as much and all of that, and so you should like take your task more seriously. And then a second flag, and then the third flag will usually like will usually end up with you being like, basically they will like kick you out of the club because you haven't really been contributing. um so I feel like there are like ways to deal with that, and leaning to your other like committee members, because some of them can be like really supportive, and if your specific team member isn't helping you, then you can reach out to the other team members and like figure out something, and they'll be there to support you. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. So with that issue, what's like a communication mistake that you think causes the biggest problem?
I think a communication mistake that causes the biggest problem is when you know, like you guys have a task that you need to do, but there's no assigned task for that specific role or that specific task. So for example, like making the MC script, usually we would say like, oh, who is in charge of making the MC script? Like, is it the PR department or is it the events department? So sometimes there's just like tasks that we're not sure who it's like meant for, and then people will be like, oh, like we need to do the MC script, but then they like won't say who is in charge of that. So like the task is implied, but it doesn't really get done. So then miscommunication happens that way because people are not sure if that's like their task to do or not, if that makes sense.
All right. So, Emily, so what are some like big tellers that tell you something is not going right at an event as an attendee?
Let me think a bit. For like the biggest tellers, I would say basically like sometimes it's quite obvious like there is tension between like the organizers. Like even though personally as event attendees we wouldn't really know who is in charge of what usually, unless like we are like friends of the organizing committee. So I would say for me it really depends on like how they solve the issue. So usually you can see like if there aren't like as experienced organizers, you can see like there is a bit of like an obvious tension that they have, like maybe on the side of the event room, like they're like speaking in like very like I would say how to say like very almost argue-ish tone. So like you can tell like that by the expressions and stuff as an attendee, but usually I would say the clubs that I've attended have like kept it quite professional, even though like I know it's just a school club, but like I would say they have a lot of experiences in like at least like making it not obvious as like organizing committee, because so far I haven't seen like very obvious like how to say it, arguments or like yes. So I haven't seen that much, but for the ones I remember is around like maybe let me think here. Maybe it's like they have to oh yeah, like maybe one time it's like the organizing, I'm not sure which department and which department, but basically they're just arguing about something, and then I think if I remember correctly it's about like the catering the food. So um the food was going to arrive late, so they were slightly like arguing a bit about like why didn't one person like why didn't person A inform like person B or another team earlier, and also uh they were arguing like if if person one did like reach out to the catering company and also inform them that need this now, or also like person B also like being the one who is in charge of the food is like um responsible for that issue, like whether they should have like reminded them. And like it is kind of hard to say because like I'm not part of the issue, but from what I heard it's like the food is going to arrive late, and because the attendees have a specific like allocated time to have their like dinner at that time, so it's quite hard to like shift around the event what is it event timetable, whether they should like bring up the like session 2 earlier and then go with the dinner time later, or if they should just delay the whole event and then push back all the sessions later. So that's what I overheard. But other than that, it's like it personally as an event attendee, I think maybe like it does depend on like how that like the ETA of the food arrival, and maybe if it's like 20 minutes late, maybe if everyone in their team agrees they can like push forward their session, and then right after the like let's say second session they can go on with their dinner time. But also this is a huge issue because you have to get everyone on the team to agree, and also get the notify every single one of the attendees. And even though like if the attendee agree, it's kind of hard for you to like push forward the event or even push back the event like for like let's say 30 minutes 1 hour, because let's say you're dealing with um MCs that who are like externally hired MCs for the club event. You kind of have to like convince them or like persuade them that it is because of what issue and what delays, and give them like a reasonable explanation for it. So I feel like as an attendee you can clearly see like there is tension sometimes, like especially if they're panicking and like running around. But so far for me, I think event organizers like really plays a huge important role in like keeping the situation calm, and also not making the attendees like confused on what is going on during the event session. Because as an attendee, if we see the event organizers panicking, it like indicates to us that the event is like something wrong is going on, and we ourselves are quite confused and we don't really know what to do, like what to go on next, or maybe are we allowed to take a break in this session, or so on so forth. Yes.
Thanks very much. So now, Rimas, what are the ideal values do you think team members need?
I think one of the most like one of the values that you must have is adaptability. So like being able to adapt to certain situations. For example, like as I've mentioned before, we had the improv show play, and one of our writers like backed out last minute. So I asked one of the people like working with me, like one of my team members, "Oh, what should we do?" And because I was like, I was on like, I was there on the day of the event, I was really unsure about what to do. And then my team member was like, they didn't haven't arrived to the event yet. So I was asking them if they know what we should do and like what we should do about the situation, but they kind of like just panicked alongside with me and didn't really provide any solutions. And so I had to like think and quickly like solve the situation on the spot. And so I feel like that's one of like the most important tasks. Like if like both of you in like everybody in the team needs to be able to adapt and have like come up with solutions and help others, because there will always be like last minute things happening and last minute changes or things that you need to like problem solve on the spot. So I feel like having having the trait of knowing how to adapt to these situations is very, very important. And then another thing is like respecting everybody. So I feel like you should really respect everybody's time. And if you like, if we're having a meeting and you say you're gonna join, and we've already like set up the meeting, but then like you can't join it, and it's like a frequent thing, then that doesn't really show that you have respect. As well as I feel like in like a club, everybody are students, right? So everybody has like group assignments and assignments that they need to get done. So you can't just say, oh, I can't make it to this because I have a group assignment, unless that group assignment requires you to be like, it's a practical assignment where you have to be on site for something. But if you're just like, oh, I have to like get my work done or something like that, and it's like a last minute thing that you're bringing up, then it's kind of not an excuse, especially like if it's a frequent thing where, oh, I can't make it because I have an assignment. That's not really considered a valid excuse, especially when you already like had promised that you will make it. So like one thing is to stick to your promises and be respectful. That shows you being respectful. And also you do need to like maintain a professional, what's it called, like professional tone, something like that, like when speaking to others. You guys may be friends, but you can't let shit slide whenever like you need to like stand on your ground and like actually hold your friends accountable for whatever they're doing. I think that's like really important. That's why it's important to be professional, because if you guys are just like friends, if you guys just have like that friendly tone, then a lot of things can happen, and then people won't hold accountability for that. Then the last thing I would say is that you should have an open mind and be able to coordinate with other people's and be able to take on tasks even if it's not your own task, because that just shows that like you're in it for the team, like you're actually like being a supportive team member and a person who contributes. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank the both of you for sharing your thoughts. And now let's talk about what we can learn from all these challenges. What committees can improve, tips for smoother event planning, and how club events can help students make friends and build confidence. So this question is for you, Rimas. What's one lesson you learned the hard way from club events?
One lesson I learned the hard way from club events is to perhaps like not assume that other people are gonna take care of my tasks or certain tasks. I feel like when you're in a club event, you really just need to be proactive and you need to get stuff done, because if things are not done, then it's like a lot of people will like not hold a person accountable for that. Then it just like causes stress to the entire team. And so a lesson I had to learn is to just like really like put my all into the club and treat it as like not just like what's it called, like not just it's not like a hobby that you do like once in a while or something like that. It's like something that you have to take a bit more seriously, because it affects a lot of things. And especially since we're like university students, there's a lot of like protocols that we have to like stick with. And generally speaking, like in events, a lot of things can go wrong. Like a lot of things that are out of our hand that we also have to be mindful of. For example, like if we plan for an event, we also have to be mindful of like any like emergency, like risk assessments, that sort of stuff. So you just have to like be really detailed and really like make sure that all the tasks are done, because if you don't make sure of that, then nobody really is going to make sure of that. And you don't like, especially as like if you have the role of being like director of events or like a higher role, then you really need to make sure that everything is like done and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So this is for you, Emily. After listening to Rimas's perspective, has your perception on event organizers changed? Are you more like do you understand them better? How do you feel about them now?
Well, I would say because like we're both part of the bachelor's of event management degree, I already like have experiences in like attending and also organizing events, and we also study about like event management and all that. So I would say I already have like some sort of knowledge on like what are the hardships that an event organizer goes through. But I would say because for specifically club and society events in tailors, it is quite different because you're like, I would say Rimas and I are different because we study event management. But for some other like members of the committee, they aren't really like uh sometimes aren't really experienced in events and in organizing events. Like maybe they just want to try it out, or maybe they just want to be part of the board of directors or any committee really. So basically, because we already have the experience, I would say in my perspective as someone who like is an event management student and also as an attendee of like club events, it is like very insightful like how my friend Remas has like both being part of the event management course and also organizing actual events in club and societies as a event director. Like that really gives me a lot of insight because as someone who already studied event management, it is like we already know like what are really the protocol to like certain situations, or like which department should be in charge of what. But because like I've heard many sharings just now of what we must say, so I do think like the relationship of the organizing committee should be like one of the most important priorities in a club. Like, although like we must say your friends and all, but you have to get things done in a way, because it's, although it's like students with that is not really experience in event, you should know your responsibility and your part of the event, and how you can actually contribute your role, and make sure that your contribution for your part is uh enough, or maybe you should even contribute even more to like make everyone's journey like go smoothly in the committee, so like there are lesser hiccups, like to if, especially as Rimas, who is an event like management student, it is like more easier for her to troubleshoot like situations or any emergencies happening, because she has the experience. But from what I've heard just now, like there are different students who aren't as experienced, that they can learn a lot from like their experience from organizing an event. Like maybe it's their first time organizing the event, or like being part of like, let's say, the videography team. Like maybe they didn't edit the videos on time to post on social media. Like that's definitely a learning lesson for the uh, videographer, let's say. And then as an attendee, it really gives me like an insight, because I have organized my own events, and also I have been an attendee in many different clubs and societies in Taylor's. So I would say it's like a different insight for me. Like it's very interesting to see how non-event management students organize the event compared to how we event management students organize, like let's say live shows, or like talks, or like event concerts or something like that. So with different clubs and societies, they, you can definitely see that there's a pattern, that and there's like a certain protocol that different clubs have going on in their own clubs. Like let's say for sport, there are like different um protocols that they have like a lot of departments. But for some other clubs I've joined, which I won't really name, but they have like lesser organization on that, because they don't really organize too much event. Like maybe for like more athletic uh more sports club, I would say, they don't have that much event of like shows that they need to organize. Basically their events would say it's like more of a bonding team event. So definitely different clubs have different types of categories of event, I would say. So as an attendee to like, I would say, several of these events, it's really interesting to see how different committees, and like because of the topic of their event, it's really different, and like how they carry out like each of their specific roles in the event overall, and how they match together to collaborate with each other and carry out on the event. And you can sometimes clearly see how their teamwork is, like if their teamwork is good or if their teamwork is kind of lacking. You can see like depending on how smoothly the event goes, and if there are any delays, like the food issue or something like that, you can see like, even though like I would say more professional or more experienced event organizers can like quickly troubleshoot that, but you can also see like sometimes some committee are very panicky, and also they don't really know what to do. So it might sometimes leave us attendees very confused, and also we don't really know what to do. So it would just leave us like sitting there, and also sometimes that would cause like more chatter, like more noise in the event area. So like sometimes there will be complaints of like what we are supposed to do, and sometimes it is hard to keep like the stress level low. But I think as an attendee, we really appreciate when like an organizing committee can like troubleshoot issues really quickly and like make us all feel comfortable and at least more in the know of what is happening, and also like let us know like there's a like 5 minute delay or 10 minute delay. And also, yeah, I would say that's really important in as a event organizing committee from an event attendee's perspective.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, before we get more insightful perspectives from our speakers, I would like to remind the audience that please, if you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat. I'll ask them later on. But now, I have a question for both of you. What advice would you give to someone joining a committee for the first time?
For anybody who like wants to join a committee, I just want to say that you don't have to be the best, but you just have to be reliable. This means that, like, if you, for example, want to take on the role of being in the social media team as a content creator, you don't have to have had like experience in that role or have like the best ideas or anything of that sort. But you just have to be a person that's reliable, because usually like when you sign up to be in a club, they'll do an interview, and that's when they ask you questions and get to know like where your skill and experience level is. And then you move into a probation period where you do these like certain events and tasks, and what they usually like look for is like your communication skills and how reliable you are as a person. Because like for example, you can like execute an event and things can go wrong in that event, but they're not assessing like your results based on if things went wrong during the event or not, because like things happen, right? So they're just assessing like how good you are communicating with your members, and like how have you been throughout that entire process of like just being like a reliable person. And so I feel like when you join a committee, you just have to like really like be a reliable person, like constantly just be an active person in that group chat, be an active person in the events, so that they know that you're someone that they can look for if they have any issues or anything arises from that sort. And I feel like that way you can also have fun and like build connections with others. So yeah, that's like, if you guys want to join a committee, I would say go for it because it's really fun. But just 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 be a little bit more attentive and be there for your members, and then like everything will fall into place.
Emily, do you have any other tips or whatnot to build on Remus's advice?
Okay, so to build off what Rimas said, personally, I feel like if you want to be part of a organizing committee, because I haven't really like been an actual organizing committee, just as like an event management student, my advice as like from an attendee's perspective, I think because I have like attended different events, I feel like it is like, for example, if you're really busy student and you're, let's say, from med school or like engineering, like you know that you yourself will be like really booked and busy, like maybe if you're not too sure if you're suitable for a certain clubs organizing, like sorry, yeah, board of directors or like organizing committee, you can like basically attend a few of their events first and see, like test the waters and see like how the event goes and like what type of event they will usually organize. Like maybe you can be part of the club member, for example, and also see what they do. You don't really have to jump into the organizing committee, like depending on which like different clubs you can be a member without being part of the organizing committee. But if you're like really interested and you are like very busy yourself, you should know when to like um separate your, like I would say, work life balance. Because if you're a student who is like really have a lot of assignments to do and you still want to join a club, you should know that to give yourself like some time, like make sure you have your own like personal like self, what is it called, like me time, and also like allocate me times for yourself without like clashing with like assignments and also club activities. I know it's hard because especially if you're really busy, taking on the toll of like event organizers for like a certain club and also your assignments as well, it's really hard to find like your me time. But if you're like okay with like, if you've seen how the event works, how the club usually organizes the event and what roles they have, you can like usually find someone like in the club to like maybe let's say you have a close friend or you have a friend of a friend, you can ask how they usually organize their events. And because of that, I feel like you can see like their own insights on what the event does and how they organize their staff and also how they segregate their own um, like their own roles and their own department. So that's really important. And I would say if you're a person who is like not really fully committed, or like sometimes a bit flaky, like we all can sometimes admit that we can be a bit flaky sometimes, like because obviously it's very stressful to join both like different clubs and also to be like a uni students, because there's like a lot of exams, a lot of assignments we have to do. But being a committed um a committed person to your club is really really important, to like make sure everyone else's members are like very like everything will go smoothly lah, so everyone else is not as stressed with like you flaking suddenly and not attending a specific event or a specific meeting. Like we must say, like if you really can't attend, you have to give a really good reason, and you have to like suggest what other times that everyone can join. But if not, if you can't join, you have to like definitely ask what tasks you are supposed to do or what else you can contribute to it. So yes, as an attendee and as an event management student, that's what I observed, and that's what I think will be like very important if you are like considering to join a committee.
Thank you. Now, besides all the hardships that event organizers and committee members go through, do you guys still recommend a student, for example, to join a committee or even attend some of the club events?
Think yes. If you're really passionate about what the club does, then I feel like you would really enjoy the process. And also, joining club like events is like a really fun way to see if you really like the activities that the club is hosting, and if you think that you would really like thrive in that sort of like community.
Emily, is there any recommendations you would make to anyone that wants to attend a club event?
Okay, so for me, I would say like basically quite similar to what Rima said. So it's like you yourself have to know your limits, and especially if you're like again like a very booked student, like you have many things to do, I would suggest not to join a club, because mental health is also a really important thing. Like you have to allocate time for your assignments. But what if like let's say your club is like very demanding, like you have to attend a lot of events, but you constantly have like both your assignment meetings and also your club meetings clash with each other. So I would say like that would take a really huge toll on like an individual's mental health and also like all the stress, and I'm pretty sure like there's very less me time for that person. And honestly, if like I said, if you really really want to join an event committee, why not just like join their events first and see if it works out for you? Like see how they do their events, and also maybe you can like make friends with the committee members and see like if it is suitable for your lifestyle, and if not, you can always if it's not suitable for your lifestyle, you can always just like join that events as like an attendee like me, who I know like I'm not really capable of being on like the committees, because for me I would feel like for my assignments and also joining as a organizing committee is really stressful for me. I personally would like prefer to allocate more me times. Like for example, I live not that near to Taylor's. I live quite far. So I would feel like it's quite stressful for me to like purposely head to the club's meeting in Taylor's to like just to attend like 1 to 2 hour like meeting sessions. So because for me, I have my own other hobbies. I feel like it is like if you really, really want to attend the event, you can, but you have to keep in mind like if you are flaky, if you are a flaky person, you would drag down everyone else's like work and also delay everyone else's uh like I would say the whole event basically. Yeah, the whole event progress. So for me, if you really are like um a person who is like really occupied, I would suggest just to attend the events as attendees like me. So it's like at least you can be part of the event on your own time, like in your own terms, because you don't have to have like full commitment for the club, and also you can like experience different events. Like sometimes I would say you can experience different club events instead of like uh if the club already has like if your club that you want to join as a committee already is organizing on a certain day, and you want to join another club's event, it's really hard for you to like say no to your own club because you're already a committee. And I feel like if you're already a committee, you should fully commit to your role and also be responsible basically. So I feel like if you're not willing to commit fully into your role as a organizing committee and as a full-time student, then I would really suggest attending as attendee, because there's nothing wrong with like jumping to different clubs as attendees, as you're not like fully committing as a member or as an organizing team. So yes, I feel like that's my advice for people who are not sure whether to attend a club as a committee or as an attendee like myself. Yeah.
Thanks. Now, before we wrap up our talk, we received some questions by the audience. So this question comes from Jasmine Trey. What's one thing organizers assume that attendees care about but actually don't?
Okay, well, I think that maybe Emily can tell me if you guys care about this or not, so I can see it from another perspective. I feel like the activities, um, we focus a lot about activities, making sure that the attendees actually, um, like they actually can have fun with it, especially when planning out the icebreakers. We really focus on that and how to basically get the attendees to like participate and get to know one another. Then we focus a lot about what kind of like food we'll be hosting for the event, if that like what kind of like food that attendees like. Do they like this kind of food or do they like that kind of food? um so and another thing would be like basically like technical things, like making sure like sound, lights, that sort of stuff work.
Right. Thanks. Emily, do you have anything, like any
Um,
assumptions?
I feel like this question is quite hard because um
Mm,
as an attendee, it's like we do care about a lot of things. It's just like we do care about like how the attitude of the organizing team is towards us, even though they're really stressed. But for this question, I'm not too sure how to reply to it because it is like it needs a lot of thinking. But I'll say maybe it's what's one thing organizers assume attendees care about but actually don't. Like maybe okay, oh actually maybe let's say only for some attendees that people I mean organizers assume that we as an overall attendee like care about how like what it's hard to say, but maybe like only for some attendees, not me personally, but maybe some attendees don't really care about what issues the organizing team is going on has issues with, like what delay, like let's say again the projector screen or something. Like they really do not care about like what things that have to troubleshoot. It's just like because some attendees don't really understand the hardships that organizing team has to go through. So some of them don't really care about whether you should whether what kind of excuses you give to them, and if they feel like the event delayed, that means to them that you're already like failing in the organizing of the event. But I feel like this is not as like not a really crucial factor to think about because overall like I'm pretty sure the organizing team have attended like different events before by themselves in their own terms. So I feel like they should already like have a gauge of like what the attendees should think of what the attendees usually would think about when like there's an issue, or what the attendees will usually think about um if like there is like obvious tension in the organizing team. Like I feel like because it is like because they have attended many different events before by themselves, so they can like in the organizing team they can already like share their different experiences and also like suggest what like whether they should care about this issue or care about that issue, or like maybe yeah, something like that. I feel like this isn't really that huge of a factor to think about like what attendees actually care about, because from their own experience they should already know like what they prefer, and also what oh yes, and also their own like SOPs, what their organizing team already have have rules to like go through their own like protocols. So yeah, I think protocols in their own like event club is even more important than considering this. But of course if they have like free like if they really want to allocate to attendees and focus specifically on them, they could as well. Then I feel like this is like they should discuss within their own group, like whether they want to allocate like uh to a certain attendees experience, or like what they experienced previously in their own form as in their own experience as an attendee, and right now as an organizer, so they can like discuss among themselves, because this is quite like it really depends on like what the club you're in, what club you're in, and also what event you're organizing. So yeah.
Thank you very much. So now just one last question from the audience. So, Alicia would like to know, what's the best event you guys have attended in school?
The best event. Hmm. I don't know if I've like joined that many like events outside from like what my club organizes, to be honest. I don't think I like there's any like highlights I can like remember right now. Um, Emily, do you want to go first?
Wait, can share about one of the best event you guys have attended in school. Best events? I would say What best events I've attended? Okay, I would say like maybe I know I talked about like how the event, like the adventurous event I attended before is like a bit like rushed because of the delays, but I personally feel that they organized it quite well because they segregated like different team members for different sessions, sorry, different stations. So I feel like because of that it's really fun, like even though it's like physically demanding from us, but I feel like in the end of the day I really appreciated like the segregation of like different strangers and with like different backgrounds of studies into like one group. So it's like we can bond with each other through like overcoming the challenges in the different stations we have. So I, although it's like really physically challenging for me, I really appreciated like the effort they put into it, and also like how supportive they are in as a organizing committee themselves. Yeah.
For me, I think one thing that makes like I don't really have a specific event in mind that I've joined in school, but for me, what makes an event like good in my eyes is when they have like really good icebreakers and like when the people in the event and the organizing team can like they communicate with the attendees. I feel like that makes the event more like comfortable and homey because like I feel like a lot of like events hosted in uni, like the goal is to basically like create a community among students, have them like participate in discussions and in activities. So I feel like when they have that, when they like the organizers are attentive to the attendees, they like talk with the attendees, share their experiences and go back and forth. And then the what's it called? The attendees can like talk to each other like those they have those like kind of activities set where the attendees can mingle around and get to know each other that makes an event a successful one. I feel like yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you for you both and also the audience for the questions. So now, as we conclude today's session, we hope you guys gained a clearer understanding of what really happens behind university club events. The chaos, the teamwork, the stress, the friendships, all of the experiences help us grow. Thank you so much for joining Inside the Scope. We appreciated your time and participation. We we hope today's sharing inspires you to take part in future club activities or even plan your own event someday. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you, guys. Also, fill out the feedback form, please. It'll only take a couple of minutes of your day.
Thank you
Right
so
there.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.